You're listening to the Multiverse Fan Cast, proud member of the Misfit Faction Media Network.
All right then, on with the show.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Multiverse Fan Cast. Don't forget, if you guys are listening to us on the go, you can find us on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, basically anywhere you get your podcasts. You can also find more of our content on our website, themisfitfaction.com. There you find links to not only this show, but some of our other shows like Cinematic Adventures, which just had its 100th episode, and MF Uncensored, as I've been interrupted by a woo-woo. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Paul, and with me via the Zoom studio is Ronnie. Ronnie, how are you today?
I'm doing swell, sir. How are you?
Oh, I can't complain, Ronnie. I'm just happy that you and I are getting a chance to sit down and do this.
Oh, 1,000%.
So just a little behind the scenes stuff. So I had to work on Friday, right? And originally I was supposed to work at like 6 o'clock. So we were supposed to go see the movie at like 11 a.m., then record, and then I was going to go to work. But because of the borderline hurricane that was rolling through, my work schedule switched to, I had to be there at noon. So I managed to finish work. Ronnie and my wife, producer Melanie, were sitting in the theater waiting for me. And I managed to get there just as the first trailer was done. I missed the Little Mermaid trailer, and I was very upset about it.
Yeah.
What were the other trailers? I don't think there was anything else. I was really worried. Never remember.
Avatar,
which,
Yeah. And then I think there was one more, maybe,
Probably.
possibly. I don't know.
It's weird because like when we go to AMC, it's 42 trailers. When we go to our local movie theater, it's 3, and we don't remember any of them. Nope. But we are excited because this is a movie that has a lot of anticipation behind it, has a lot of emotion behind it, has a lot of thought behind it, and that is Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. So obviously this movie had a lot of fan thoughts going into it because of the tragic passing of Chadwick Boseman. And, you know, we here at MF Uncensored and Multiverse Fan Cast and all those shows, we love Chadwick Boseman. We thought he was fantastic, not just as Black Panther, but like, you know, he played in 42, a ton of other things, and he just seemed like a really good dude. So it was a shame that we didn't get a chance to see what this movie would have been with him in it. Not to say that it was bad or good. We're going to save our thoughts. As usual, we're going to do a non-spoiler review and just kind of say our very generic thoughts based off of trailers and public information. We'll do a quick break, and then we'll come back for spoilers. So before we do that, we do have one other depressing... This could be a depressing episode.
Yeah, right? I was just thinking that.
So... We also had Kevin Conroy passed away this week. So at the time of recording, it's a Sunday, November 13th. It was a few days ago that he passed, and It was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
I was really upset about it. He was only 66. Like, that's young.
Yeah. He was young, yeah.
And for those of you guys who don't know, and if you're listening to a comic book podcast, you probably know who Kevin Conroy was, but he was the iconic voice behind Batman from Batman the Animated Series on. And to a lot of people, a lot of fans, he was Batman. He was the voice of Batman. And, you know, he even got a chance to play a live-action Batman for Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was really cool. It was so strange seeing his voice, or hearing his voice with seeing him.
Yeah.
Because, like, when you first hear his voice in that episode, it's from off-camera.
Yeah.
So you're like, it's Batman. And then he walks down, and you're like, that doesn't match.
No, that's not Batman.
It's weird because like your mind just associates because, you know, obviously I think we've talked about Batman the Animated Series, not too much, but it's maybe we'll even do an episode for Kevin Conroy. But he was like the Batman. Like
Batman.
Yeah, he played him in Batman the Animated Series, Justice League Unlimited, a bunch of the different movies, the Arkham City or the Arkham series of video games. Like he was all over it. And, you know, between him and Mark Hamill, they were a very definitive duo of voice actors.
Yes.
I'm ashamed. I'm really sad that I never got a chance to meet him at like Comic-Con or anything like that. I feel like he would, like he's just seemed like such a good person.
Yep.
But any thoughts on Kevin Conroy, Ronnie?
You know, he will be missed, you know, for everything that he's done for the character of Batman. Yeah. I mean, I feel like if it really wasn't for him, you know, you wonder how things would have gone with Batman. Would he have been as popular? You know, because he just absolutely nailed that role, even though it was just his voice and everything, but he just absolutely nailed it. So, you know, it's sad, you know, another young I mean, 66 isn't like young, but at the same time, that's young to pass away, especially from cancer. And it's almost like, in a way, the theme of the show.
Well, did they say how he passed away yet?
He did have cancer. I'm pretty, I don't know if that was the reason.
I don't know. They haven't said anything yet. At least
I'm pretty sure he had cancer. I don't know what kind, but so
I didn't know he was gay. Good for him.
Yeah.
But,
so I mean, but overall, it's sad, but he left his mark when it comes to the quote unquote geek culture.
Oh yeah, he the amount of celebrities too that have been talking about him and really just kind of saying. And Mark Hamill gave a really nice tribute to him, and they were very good friends. I think Mark Hamill once said that he won't even read a script if Kevin Conroy's doing it; he's just going to do it. Yeah. So I always respected that, because you often wonder, voice actors especially, playing Batman and the Joker, how much did they interact with each other? How much did they actually work together?
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see that kind of dynamic, and to also see they were really good friends. It makes my heart full knowing that there was so much love there. It's like The Rock and Kevin Hart.
Yeah, right.
The two of them, or you got a lot of, or Tim Allen and help me out here, Buzz and Woody.
Oh, Tim Allen and wow,
Tom Hanks.
Yes, thank you.
Wow. It's early, guys. Sorry, but the two of them, you could definitely tell are friends also in real life.
Yeah.
But so that's it for our news. Unfortunately, it's depressing news. We're really sorry about that. But the episode is not going to get much more uplifting.
Yeah.
So let's start with our initial thoughts of Black Panther Wakanda Forever without spoilers. So again, no spoilers, nothing that hasn't been seen in trailers or teasers. So if you guys have not watched anything for this, maybe a spoiler, but nothing too crazy. But so this movie starts off with, they address it. They address the elephant in the room very quickly. It's done very tastefully, in my opinion. Again, not a spoiler, but just this is where the movie kind of starts. But initial thoughts on just the movie as a whole, Ronnie.
I mean, for me, it didn't blow me away. It was still a good movie. There was, in my eyes, an amazing surprise that we got in the, which, again, we'll talk about later on, because this, I'm pretty sure, was not talked about at all. Mm-hmm. I could be wrong, but overall, good quality movie for Marvel. They needed a win, and they definitely got a win with this, because they've been getting some, losses or some so-so kind of stuff, so it was nice to see a win for Marvel finally.
Yes.
Which is weird to say. It's weird to say Marvel finally got a win in recent time.
So I think the best thing that works in this movie's favor is, and we've talked about this ad nauseum, is it goes against the Marvel formula. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, with a movie like this, you couldn't have the fun, jokey, entertaining tone like an Ant-Man or even like an Iron Man, because it's dealing with loss, and it's dealing with people moving on, and we get to see each of these characters deal with loss in different ways, and some are it's very real. Yeah. And the characters in this movie make bad decisions based on their loss and their how they're feeling. So it's interesting. It really kind of dives deep. But there are a couple, they have their jokey moments, but they are very few and far between. I was kind of surprised with how much I wasn't laughing in this movie, which is terrible, I guess.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's terrible. I think because of the first one, you had quite a few moments where you did kind of chuckle, maybe not necessarily laugh at, but with this movie, I can't remember. I don't think I laughed or chuckled at one thing at all. I think this movie was very
somber,
serious, and somber and everything. So
yeah, when we do spoilers, we're going to talk about the characters and the returning characters and where they're at, and because like I said, this movie didn't blow me away either. It was good. It was very high quality. Yeah. It was well shot. There are some interesting decisions based on not only the director, but also the characters. The characters make some bad choices in this movie, but they're And we'll talk about that, but it's very strange. It like some of these characters who are very smart and very capable, make very bad decisions, and unfortunately, like it all works out. But I would have been okay if it didn't for once.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's Marvel, so everything works out.
Yeah, it's got to be about the next property and what comes next, and we're going to talk about that too because we have a lot of theories. So with that, we are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we are doing our full spoiler review for Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. But first, a quick break. Hey guys, it's Paul, and the Misfit Faction is looking for your help. We are trying to grow not only our network, but also grow our brands, and the best way to do that is if you guys are looking to start your very own podcast. Maybe you guys have been listening to us for a while. Maybe it's something you guys have always wanted to do, but you're not sure how to get started. If you go to podbean.com/misfitfaction, you guys will get a month of free podcasting on us. That is a gift from us. So make sure if you guys are looking to start your own show, you reach out to us and go to podbean.com/misfitfaction. Also, maybe you guys have your own online business or service that you're always looking to grow, and advertising is a very big part of that. If you guys go to sponsorship.podbean.com/misfitfaction, you guys can get $100 worth of free advertising, again, as a thank you from us to you guys. That's sponsorship.podbean.com/misfitfaction. All right, we are back, and again, this is our full spoiler review for Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. So if you haven't seen it yet, turn off the episode, come back after you've seen it, because we are going to break down everything. So first and foremost, this movie, there was not a sound in the opening scene. Like the entire theater was dead quiet, and we had teenagers in there, we had kids in there, we had kids that were annoying in there because we're old and curmudgeonly now. But you kids with your rock and roll music. But when the opening Marvel logo pops up, and they did what they did for Stan Lee, where it's all Chadwick Boseman, it's all him from the movies, it's got a purple color into it, and when that popped up, the whole theater was dead silent. Apparently, that has happened all around the country. Like there are reports of theaters just being so quiet during that. Yeah, which is nice because I really do feel like he deserved it. But they don't say how he died, and I think we talked about it in our preview episode. Yeah, just an
said something about an illness,
unknown disease,
an illness. Yeah.
So, which is interesting because like obviously they're very technologically advanced. I think Shuri even says like he didn't tell me until it was too late to save him. Yeah. So it was an interesting start, and it shows, it starts off with Shuri trying to recreate the heart-shaped herb using technology, something that hasn't ever been done before. So it was interesting to see Shuri, who's like the smartest person, I would argue the smartest person in the MCU, really struggling. And again, she's supposedly the smartest person in the MCU. However, she decided that fighting, again, full spoilers, fighting the Namor and his people on water was the best decision she could possibly make. Yeah. Dumb.
It's one of those, like, I guess she knew, she had a plan, which the plan ended up working. But I think it was just one of those, well, they know that they're smart enough people to know to not go to land and fight. So,
but they did. They went to Wakanda themselves.
Oh, yeah.
So let's talk about Shuri really quick. So Shuri's dealing with incredible loss. Now, she does become the Black Panther. Everybody kind of knew that was where it was going to go. Yeah. I actually would have been okay if they had who's the other, Nakia. I would have been okay if she had actually become Black Panther.
That's what I said. I said it's probably going to be Shuri. Yeah. Right? Or in my eyes, if it wasn't going to be her, it was going to be Nakia, or who was the second, Anika.
Oh, one of the newer ones?
The one that had the new suit. So you had Okoye with that blue suit. Yeah. And Anika was wearing that blue suit. I forget what they called it.
I forget it. It had a cool name to it, but it was definitely something Midnight Angel armor. Which is a cool name, Midnight Angel. That's awesome. Yeah. But so Shuri is dealing with loss, and I did enjoy how for Shuri, she's a very scientifically and logical person. Like she doesn't believe in the astral plane. She doesn't believe in any of that stuff. She believes it's all just a construct of a person's mind, and like it's interesting. Her and her mom have a very philosophical discussion in the beginning of the episode, or beginning of the movie, where she literally says, "I don't believe in that stuff, but I'm glad you do, and I'm glad it makes you feel better because it doesn't help me. And if I sit here for too long thinking about my brother, I just want to burn the world down." Shuri is edgy in this, but then I really wish that I didn't want them to kill Namor, who we'll talk about in a second, but I would have been okay if like they lost, that they didn't win because Shuri was acting purely out of aggression.
Yes.
And I would have been okay if Shuri had become kind of not a villain per se, but like an anti-hero almost.
Yeah.
Because like a lot of people do die at the end.
Oh, yeah, which is very confusing. Because at the end, towards the end when they're on that ship,
mm-hmm.
it was weird because it was like if you look at all the people that I want to call them Atlanteans.
I know. I keep stopping myself.
The Talocan, however you pronounce that.
Yes.
Right. They have them surrounded, and you look and there's only like 20 of them. I'm like, so where did all? And then when they leave, there's like 100+ warriors. I'm like, well, where were the other 100 or so warriors?
They were taking water out of the boat with a bucket. Get the vibranium buckets. But I found it very interesting, and then obviously she doesn't take the role of Queen at the end of the movie. And we'll talk about M'Baku too, because we love M'Baku. He's probably one of our favorite characters. But she keeps the mantle of Black Panther. Yeah. And so Ronnie and I were talking about this off air beforehand, because we weren't sure. Like it was a little strange. Did she take the role of Queen when she became Black Panther and then give it away? But then we also were talking about how T'Challa had the role of Black Panther while his father was still alive. Yeah. Right? Like when Civil War starts, he's obviously already taken the heart-shaped herb. He has the suit of armor, and his father's still king. Yep. So I guess like the ritual combat is more to determine who's going to be the rightful ruler. And not gonna lie, I don't think Shuri would have beaten M'Baku in one-on-one combat.
Yeah, because when you do the one-on-one combat, you take the power of the herb out of you.
Right.
And we know she can't fight.
Yeah, she's much more technologically based.
Yeah, she needs a weapon in order to do what she's got to do. So she would have. Yeah, she would have lost.
Do you think there was a lot of CGI or too much CGI involved?
You know what? At times, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes too, like the CGI just didn't look right.
Right.
But I mean, that's the problem with a movie like this is everything needs to be CGI.
Well, see, I'll argue that because like you watch Civil War, and Civil War, it is him in like an actual physical suit.
Yeah.
But then you get to Black Panther, and there are scenes where it's like, well, that's not him. That's CGI. Like,
yeah.
And unfortunately, with Marvel stuff, like you can tell when it's just not that person.
Yeah.
And you could definitely tell. And sure, the fact that Shuri was able to fight so well after becoming the Black Panther, I wanted to see her stumble and fall. Like she punches the armor and it goes flying. I was like, I don't remember the Black Panther being that strong.
Yeah.
Wow. But
yeah, it was weird because you would think you would need to have, like, I know it enhances, because it's not like it gives you powers.
It does to a point.
It enhances your strength, your speed, and all that. Which, yeah, she probably has all that.
Mm-hmm.
But the fighting, like, it just magically gives you instinct when it comes to fighting. Is like, it makes sense for some other people that we've seen with the Black Panther title because they were warriors or what have you and everything. So it just gave her powers to fight, I guess, too.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, like, she's been in battle, but she was always using the Panther blasters.
Yeah.
Which were cool, and they integrated them into her suit, which was cool, too. Yes. But, like, and then she gets skewered in this. Like, she takes, like, a spear to the stomach, and no blood. There was no blood in this movie at all. I know. You have to think about it. There's no blood. Like, maybe, like, one or two cuts, but, like, some of these people are getting, like, eviscerated, and like Shuri, when she breaks it and then steps off, there's no blood on that thing.
No. Yeah, and it was cool because when she does that too, you can see like the self-healing come. It's not just one shot to another. It's almost like you saw that with Wolverine too. Like you could see the skin healing back together or what have you.
So moving on though, I want to talk about Namor. So, yeah. Namor was badass, and I liked him. I really liked him. Namor follows in the vein of Killmonger, where you understand them. You have a sympathy for them. So basically, we find out in this movie, the only reason that Namor is there is because of this vibranium detecting machine. So basically, once Wakanda was like, hey, we're going to open up to the world, and here, people wanted vibranium. They wanted to create the kind of weapons that, Wakanda had. And they thought, like, that opening scene is badass with the Queen.
Oh,
and, she was awesome in this movie. We loved Angela Bassett, right? No, not Angela Bassett. What? Oh, my God. I need to lay down. I'm terrible. Oh, no, Angela Bassett. I was right. God, she does a great job in this movie and conveys so much emotion. But she's another one that makes a stupid decision where she's like, yeah, General, you're done. Years of service, and, you gave up your marriage and your love. But, yeah, you done messed up. So, fired. But, so for Namor, the idea that they were content just living underwater and not, bothering the world. But then once this machine that could detect vibranium was discovered, like, Now we're in danger because of Wakanda. So Wakanda has a responsibility to help us. I get that.
Yeah.
That's realistic.
Yep.
What did you think of Talocan? Not Atlantis under any circumstances.
It was basically just underwater Wakanda.
Mm-hmm.
And you could see, at the end of the movie, when she's got the spear through her. And, you can kind of see her. She's like...
She sees the parallels.
She's like imaging. Yeah, she's making the parallel to, this scene in Wakanda, this scene in Talocan, and everything like that. So, it was cool. I did like that when they were speaking underwater, it sounded like they were speaking underwater.
Right.
Like, like sometimes you're watching something and they're underwater and you hear them just as clear as you can hear us right now. It's like, oh, that's not realistic.
Mm-hmm.
But here it was, and the Mayan language that they use and everything. And, it goes to how smart both countries are. Mm-hmm. Or whatever you consider Talocan, if it's a country or civilization, whatever you want to call it.
The nation.
Yeah, nation. Because it's like they're able to speak all these different languages. And so is the Wakandans as well. You have them speaking French, Mayan, so.
All sorts of things, yeah.
Yeah.
But I did enjoy seeing that. But I also felt like they were not nearly, A, as technologically advanced, like underwater, but also, B, it was so dark, like all the time, which, producer Melanie and I were talking about it. She's like, well, it's underwater, dummy. Yeah. And I said... it was hard for me to not picture Atlantis from the Aquaman movie, which was very bright and very colorful and very like, here's our world. And I did like the sun thing, like I brought the sun to my people. That was really the biggest technological thing, though, that they had.
Yeah, just the little castle area. That was it.
Yep. I did like
and
how...
the tunnels.
The tunnels, they were lit up too.
First tunnel things? Yeah.
The current tunnels.
Yeah. Honestly, first one they went through, all in my head.
Finding Nemo.
Yeah.
Righteous.
No, crush.
Oh yeah. You can't get away from that. It's all Disney. But I liked how they made him a mutant in a different kind of way. It's interesting. I have no problem if vibranium is kind of the cause of mutations. They can write it a certain way. They take some liberties with his story, which whatever. I was never like, I am a Namor purist. I gotta get my Namor fix. But I enjoyed him. I want to see him back again, and I do like how at the end he's still smart. He's like, I have their sympathy, I have their empathy. So now when I need them, they will be there, and vice versa. So I actually have no problem with them finding peace at the end, or at least an unsteady truce almost. But I really liked how the Talocans, when they came out of water, they turned blue.
Yes,
but underwater they looked like human. I don't want to say normal, but.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a really interesting creative choice, because when they first come out and they're blue, I was like, oh, we just saw the Avatar trailer.
Yeah.
They never explain how they're so much tougher. I mean, I guess they do with like when they talk his backstory, they became water people. But it's interesting because like they make it in the beginning, they're like, well, we can't hurt them. And then at the end they're like, we can hurt them, don't worry.
Yeah. All you gotta do is take them out of water, fish out of water.
No, but like even when they fight on the bridge, who is it? Okoye is like, I killed 4 of them, and then they got up and they were fine.
Yeah.
But then at the end, they're like, no, they die. They die.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It was just a fluke right there. It's gotta be happen during daylight in order for you to kill them.
It's got to be on a Wakandan boat, didn't you know? But so let's talk about, we have Nakia returning.
Yep.
We find out, I want to rewatch the movie to kind of see more. So basically, we find out that after the blip happened, she disappeared. She left Wakanda completely. So, we knew Okoye survived the blip because obviously she was still in Endgame and she was kind of helping Natasha. But I found it interesting. They bring it up and she's like, well, I just disappeared. And then she didn't make it to the funeral and all that. We find out at the end that she had a son with T'Challa named Toussaint, who is secretly actually named T'Challa. What are your thoughts on Nakia and now baby T'Challa?
So I like Nakia. I've liked her since the first movie. I thought she's a great character. She played the love interest, but she didn't play a damsel in distress love interest that we pretty much always get. Mm-hmm. We got a warrior in her, and you saw that in the first movie. You saw that in this movie and everything. The whole son thing, I don't know.
It's a very old writing trope.
Yeah. It's like, all right, it was kind of expected when she was like, oh, and I'm like, there you go.
As soon as the kid walked out, I was like, oh,
yeah,
that's that.
So who knows what they're going to do with the kid? Like, I wonder, is he going to end up playing a role, or are we just going to see him this one time and that be it? Because this movie is making money, so it's...
Oh, we're going to see more, yeah.
Yeah, we're going to see a third one. Who knows, where it's going to be and everything, in what phase, but...
Well, we have the Ironheart TV show, so let's talk about Ironheart next. So Riri Williams gets introduced. She's the one who creates this machine, and she is a very Tony Stark genius level type character. In the comics, she was actually more recruited by Tony Stark, which would make sense why she made an Iron Man costume.
Yeah.
But instead, the Wakandans are trying to protect her, and she's the comedic relief also in this film for the most part. Like, she's the one who cracks the most jokes, because she's also more of the audience surrogate, being a technically normal, quote-unquote, person thrown into this amazing world. Yeah. But what did you think of Riri Williams?
I liked her. I'm excited. This I think they put her in there just to get more excitement for her show. Mm-hmm. I feel like
she's more of a MacGuffin.
Yeah, which, you know what, it did its job. I'm curious to see what Ironheart is going to be about. Is it going to be after this movie? Is it going to be before this and leads, is it going to be some before Wakanda Forever and some after it? But overall, great character. Like you said, you kind of relate to her in a way. I mean, minus I'm not that smart, but other than that smart, other than the genius part, she's very relatable. I got this suit. I've never used it before. I don't know how to fight. I don't know how to really do anything, but this is kind of cool. I can help out.
Yeah, I mean, after Ramonda saves her, she feels a debt. And that's also a big part of this, characters who, feel indebted to previous, and we'll talk about that when we talk about Ross in a minute. But for Ironheart, I would like to see her in the Armor Wars movie. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Yeah.
I'm sure we will.
It'd be a fun cameo at least, because Ironheart does take place after this movie. That's what it said. But otherwise, we really don't know too much about Ironheart or even Armor Wars too. I mean, Armor Wars was supposed to be a series, but then they moved it to an actual film.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's going to come out in late 2023. You're going to have 6 episodes, part of Phase 5.
Okay.
Yeah, but not a whole lot besides she's going to be in it and Anthony Ramos as the Hood. Yeah. All right. But so moving on, because I want to save M'Baku for the end because I love him so much. We have Everett Ross returning, and we find out a bombshell about Everett Ross. He was married to Valentina Allegra de Fontaine.
Yeah.
Who is now the director of the CIA. Yeah.
That was a nice little surprise having her in there.
I think the two of them, I would watch that series.
Oh, yeah.
The two of them just dealing with being, working together in a superhero world, being divorced.
Yeah, but now he's a wanted man, so now he can't.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised when they did that.
Yeah.
But I really dug, she outsmarted him.
Yeah.
And we've been seeing more and more of her. Obviously, she's also, it's really to set up the Thunderbolts thing.
Yeah.
Which I don't have a problem with, but
No.
she's a setup character. And when we get
you know what?
What?
Wasn't Ross in the Thunderbolts?
I don't know if he is going to be in Thunderbolts, but
I wonder if that's how they get him tied into that, if he's going to be.
I hope so. We do like Everett Ross. You know, we did not like him in Civil War though, which is even funnier. Like when he first comes in, he's going to be in Secret Invasion though.
Okay.
So
maybe that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
So I'm okay with that. But we like Ross, and I think the fact that he is so loyal to Wakanda after what happened in Black Panther, it's just really like. I was watching Black Panther before we went to go see this movie, and I really was just like, I really do like Ross. He is just such like he seems like a really just nice guy, a good person. And when they start going back and forth, and then you find out that she's the ex-wife, I was dying. I thought that was he was another source of comedic timing, and just because he's very level-headed. He's very like, here's what we do, here's what we should do, and then it's like, well, you're doing the opposite. Stop it.
Yeah, right.
But obviously, he is wanted at the end, so I'm curious to see, because S.H.I.E.L.D. is kind of around, but also kind of not. It's very confusing. Same with the Avengers. They don't even mention the Avengers in this.
Which is one of my gripes.
Really? Gripe it.
I think it would have been nice at his funeral to have someone there.
Mm-hmm. So representing the Avengers?
Yeah. I mean, he was a big part of, 3 movies with them?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, I mean, I don't know who you want to put. I would have loved to have seen Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier, Hulk.
Yeah, I think one or both of those two should have been there.
I agree.
Because Bucky Barnes is going to be around for some time.
Mm-hmm.
So you could have easily used him.
Could have had Sam Wilson there.
Yeah, so that's one of my gripes with this movie is there's no. I think the only mention. I think did we get a Hulk mention?
Yeah, that Namor is possibly as strong as the Hulk. That's what M'Baku says.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, that's like the only mention that we got of outside, like Wakanda stuff.
Right.
Was him mentioning that. That's one. Again, you don't always want them to pull,
but
from
like
other stuff. But at the same
Tony
time,
Stark. Yeah,
like with his funeral, like there should have been at least one Avenger there.
I mean, if they had done like a passing line, even where it was just like, "This is our private funeral. We had like the world mourns, and the Avengers were there, and all that." Like if they had just written that in somehow, I think it would have been better. Yeah. But like the fact that Sam Wilson and Bucky Barnes and like even like I don't want to say Spider-Man, because obviously he didn't interact with Wakanda at all.
Yeah.
But like some of these characters who like Black Panther Shuri was at Tony Stark's funeral. Like they made it a point. And did they just not want to spend the money? Did they just not want to? Did they want to make it more personal? I was like that's like it's your friend. It's like your friends. It sucks. Like that, I do agree that is one of my gripes. I mean, it makes sense with Wakanda being a very like, this is us. Yeah. We don't care about everybody else. But it was rough.
At the same time, Bucky Barnes is almost like considered
the White Wolf.
Wakandan. He lived there for, I forget how long he was there for, but he was there for some time, and the people there loved him too. So it was just weird not having him there. But
it would have been a nice 5-second cameo, because I feel like we're also not getting as many cameos. Like Doctor Strange could have been there.
Yeah,
like it's a shame, and I think that was a lost opportunity to add some more emotional weight to it. Not that this movie wasn't emotionally heavy to begin with, but let's talk about M'Baku, arguably our favorite character in the entire series.
Yep.
Which is weird considering like he starts off as an antagonist in the Black Panther.
Yeah.
But now he's like the most level-headed out of all of them.
Yeah, which they even mention in this. They're like, you're the one that always wants to go to war and everything, and now all of a sudden you don't. And he brought up a good point. He was like, listen, they call him a god. Mm-hmm. They're like, we beat aliens and people from out of this world, whatever, but we're going up against a god here, and we gotta be smart about this.
And if we kill their god, we kill their people.
Yeah.
Like, is that what we want to be? Do we want to be like M'Baku's a very interesting character where in this movie he's very different than what he was. And it felt natural though. Like it felt like a progression. And I loved him and Shuri's scenes. Like when he's, your brother asked me to guide you and be your friend. You're not making the right decision. And again, that's why I kind of wish it didn't work out. And because it wasn't because she realized that M'Baku was right. It's just that she finally saw that, and she says the same line that T'Challa says to Zemo, where it's, he said, vengeance has consumed you. It's consuming. I'm done letting it consume me. So I liked that parallel.
Yeah.
But I would have liked to see, like in her little mind montage of rationalizing that she is not Killmonger, that like you saw M'Baku just like that second where he's like, hey, like you're doing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
But I really did enjoy him. I hope he does become King of Wakanda. I would love to see that.
Oh, yeah.
Especially now that he is way more like...
level-headed.
Level-headed, I guess is the best way to say it.
Yeah.
But we also have a return of a character that you alluded to in the pre-spoiler section, so I'll let you drop this one.
Yeah, so we had a very nice surprise at least in my eyes, I'm sure in most people's eyes, is we had Michael B. Jordan reprising his role as Killmonger. Which, I mean, you saw him in the astral plane. It's not like he was, quote unquote, there, but, it honestly, him speaking, I got chills. Like, the way he portrays that character, it is just amazing.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it was great to have him back. And for him to be the one that Shuri sees, too. And then when they asked, who'd you see? She was like, no one. Like, she didn't want to admit that she wants to, quote unquote, be like him in a way, at that moment. Because at that moment, obviously,
she just wanted
beginning
revenge.
Of the movie, she lost her brother. Middle of the movie, she lost her mother. So then it was, I got to do something. And now all I want is vengeance.
Mm-hmm.
He is vengeance.
So, I am the knight. But I did enjoy the scene with Killmonger because, again, it went against the Marvel trope where it could have very easily been so like at the end of Black Panther, he and T'Challa come to an understanding, and T'Challa actually shares Wakanda with the world because of Killmonger. Like there is an understanding of the parallels between the two of them. So I liked how they experimented this with Shuri. But they could have easily been like, no, I did the wrong thing. You have to be a better ruler than me. He's like, nah, man, kill them all.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I would do. And that's why you're seeing me, because you need me right now. It was very interesting. And it makes me curious, because in Black Panther, this was just pointed out to me. When he sees his father in the astral plane, there are bars on the window. So it's almost like he's trapped in that little apartment.
Yeah.
So I was looking at like the background, and he's in the throne room, but I'm not sure if like when T'Challa went, it was a very open plain. The other Panthers were there, so I was curious. But it was such a great scene.
Oh yeah.
Like again, I got chills too with it, and just it is wild that they got him back and nobody knew.
No, it was. Everyone was like, "Oh, is he gonna somehow come back to life and be the new Black Panther?"
That was a big rumor.
That was the rumor, and then obviously you had the trailers come out, and you could see it was a female figure as the Black Panther and everything. But yeah, no, it was nice.
It was really good seeing him. Yeah. And Ronnie is frozen. Oh, he's unfrozen.
No, I'm not.
You were for a second. It was wonderful.
But
any other characters we want to talk about really quick? I think we got most of the main ones. There are some other characters in this, but like they're more background characters. But anybody else? Anything else?
No, that's pretty much everyone. That's all the big people. We mentioned briefly Okoye.
Mm-hmm. We feel bad for her in this movie.
Yeah.
Oh, that was heart-wrenching.
Yeah.
When she gets quote-unquote
when she
fired.
breaks down.
Yeah.
Oh.
I watched it. I was like, oh, that's rough. Like,
Yeah.
She gave everything for this. Apparently, her husband, the guy who played her husband, I forget his name, Daniel Kaluuya. I can't pronounce his last name. I'm really sorry. He was filming Nope at the time, so he couldn't. Daniel Kaluuya, yes.
Yeah.
He was supposed to come back as W'Kabi, but he had scheduling conflicts with filming Nope.
Yeah.
But I really did enjoy Okoye. The suits were a little much. Like the blue, the midnight, like the name was cool.
Yeah.
But for Okoye to get a suit that now she's like using all the time, I was like, that kind of goes against her. She's very traditional, like the whole thing with the spear versus the daggers thing.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, all right, well, this is where we're at, Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it was like, it looked almost like it was meant for underwater, like for that specific reason to fight
underwater. Yeah, I agree.
Underwater. But then we see at the end of the movie when she's bailing out Ross from the CIA ban,
got to show my face too, so he knows it's me.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a little weird. But let's talk about some thoughts about where we think the franchise is going to go. I have no problem with M'Baku being the king of Wakanda and Shuri being the Black Panther.
Yeah.
I think it makes much more sense. I think I want to see the two of them interact in like a king and advisor kind of way.
Yeah.
That's not to say I don't think Shuri would have been a bad queen. I just don't think where her character went in this, she wasn't the right choice.
Yeah.
And that has nothing to do with hierarchies or male-female dominance or kings versus queens. It's just because Ramonda does a great job as queen.
Yep.
Like, she's badass. I loved it.
Oh, yeah.
But I just don't think Shuri was there at the time. Maybe later on she could take the role, but...
Yeah, she's not really in the right mental state to do it, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, again, at the end of the movie, she walks away from Wakanda to go to Haiti.
Yeah, to finally mourn.
Yeah, so, who knows? It could be something where, Black Panther is now part of the Avengers and is going around country to country with, your new Avengers. And like you said, you do have M'Baku as the king of Wakanda.
Yeah,
I think the way that it was set up, that seems to be the way they're gonna go. Is he's going to be king?
Mm-hmm. So I hope so, and I wouldn't mind seeing both of them in different roles in new Avengers movies because we have 2 Avengers movies coming out.
Yes,
but we couldn't tell you what the Avengers lineup is.
Yeah, there's so many choices. Because there's so many that are still out there. They're either alive or we know that they're still going to be part of the MCU because of under contracts and everything. You have, more than half of the old Avengers. Mm-hmm. And then you got all these new characters that they're bringing in that, in the comics are part of the Avengers. So...
Yeah, when we get closer, especially like when after Ant-Man and Quantumania and all that, and like when we get close to the next Avengers movies, we're gonna speculate, or maybe we'll even get answers about who the actual Avengers are going to be. Like, is it going to be Sam Wilson? Is it because obviously Bucky's going to be with the Thunderbolts, Yelena is going to be with the Thunderbolts, like stuff like that. But I'm curious to see what kind of lineup of Avengers we're going to get, especially to fight Kang.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, Star City rating for Black Panther.
I think I'm going to go with a 3.5.
I think that sounds about fair.
It like I said at the beginning, it didn't blow me away. It did not blow me away as much as the first one did. But overall, very solid movie. Like we talked about before, gripe was not having any mention of Avengers or any MCU character other than a passing line of the Hulk. We had a great introduction to Ironheart in this, to kind of get hyped up for it. And then, the whole thing with Michael B. Jordan gave it a little extra bump up there and everything. But, it's one of those movies that, it doesn't blow you away. It's good. I'll probably watch it again.
Oh, yeah.
At some point, but it's not one that it's like, oh my God, I have to see that again. I have to watch this movie numerous times like the first one did. I don't know if it was just more hype around the first one than this one. I mean, this one, really the only hype around it was who's going to be the new Black Panther and how are they going to talk about,
What
T'Challa's death and everything like that. And the thing with this movie too is it was sad. Then it was halfway through sad again. And at the very end it was sad. It's it was just a huge roller coaster of emotions. And
it's tough to write.
Yeah, which I'm was it a little too much? Did you put a little too much emphasis on, the sadness in this movie?
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, 3.5 for me.
3.5. I'm going to give it a 3.5 also. I think I gave the first one a 4. So
yeah.
It's not as good as the first one, which sequels tend to not be, but it does a good job of honoring the legacy of Chadwick Boseman and paying respect to him and paying respect to T'Challa. The characters are very well written. I have one of the other issues that I had was a lot of slow motion involving the water bombs.
Yeah.
The first time was cool, but then there was a lot of slow motion in this, and I was I don't remember that much slow motion in the first Black Panther. And it's the same director.
No. Yeah.
So I thought that was a very unique aesthetic that they kept using, and I was okay. Yeah. I don't have a problem with slow motion, but just from going from the first one to the second one and having so much, I was this a little off. But it's worth going to. Again, it didn't blow me away either, but it was just a solid good time. So if you guys would like to share your thoughts with us, make sure you go to our Facebook page, the Multiverse Fan Cast, and you guys can leave your thoughts there. We're going to have this episode up bright and early Monday morning, so make sure you guys leave comments, leave thoughts. We also have our website, themisfitfaction.com. You can find links to all of our shows and all of our different materials and reviews, and our shop where you can buy your Misfit swag. We also are on every social media. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook. Type in the Misfit Faction or Multiverse Fan Cast. Odds are you'll find some of our stuff. But that is going to wrap us up for today. As always, I'm Paul.
I'm Ronnie.
And we'll be back in a flash.
See ya.